Hello students, this is the continuation of chapter number 10 using list and creating a table. And in this video I am going to show you how to create a table in a web page. As we all know that table arranges data in rows and columns and provide an attractive way to represent information. Now see, to create a table in HTML, we use the table tag, and each table begins with the opening table tag and ends with a closing table tag. After the table, the next come the table row tag or tr tag, and each row within the table begins with tr, that is table row tags, and end with the tr tag. Now the row must be inside the table tag. Now after the row, next comes the th, or what we call table heading tags. So to specify the column heading, we use th tag. It is a container tag and ends with the /th tag. So it is basically used to make the text bold. And finally come the td tag, that is table data tag. So to specify the data inside the cell, we use td tag. It is a container tag, and so it should also have a closing tag. So when we create the table, generally we use 4 tags. First is the table tag. So inside the table tag, we should start with the tr, that is table row tag. Then comes the th, that is table heading tag. Then finally a td tag. Now here is an example how to use table tag inside the web page. As I have already said, it should start with the table tag. Then comes the tr. Generally, tr means to create a table row inside the table. Then within the table row, then comes the ts, that is the table heading. We specify the columns of the table. After specifying the column for the table, then we close the table row. Then we open the next table row where we will input the table heading for the table. Now let me show you with the help of an example here. Now consider that this is a code for HTML, and as I have already said that while creating a table, we should start with the opening and a closing table tag. Now when we are creating a table, first we should start with the tr, that is table row tag. So let me write down tr, that it will represent the table row. Then inside the table row, we'll create a table heading, that is a column to insert the data. So let it be th, table heading. Now let me input one table heading here. Suppose say name. As I have already said that th is a container tag, so you should close the th tag. Now let me go to the file and just save it, and let me refresh it here in the web browser and see how it looks like. Now see, it is showing me the name here. Now let me input the next table heading. Suppose say the next table heading is say the address, 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 and let me close this table heading also. And finally, let me input one more table heading and give it as a phone number. Close table heading. Now let me go to the file and click on save, and let me click on the refresh button. You can see it is showing me 3 column heading. One is the name, another is the address, and another is the phone number. Now if you want to add more table heading, you can use the table heading tag and insert the new column heading. Now if you have completed your work, then you may close this table row. So I have created one table row with the table heading name, address, and phone number. Now if you want to insert the new row, then again you have to open the table row tab. Then we place it the table data, that is td tag. So inside the TD tag, we'll write the name of a particular person. Suppose say let me write down Manish. As TD is a container tag, so you need to close the table heading. Now let us see how the table looks like. Go to the file, click on save and refresh it. You can see just below the name, you can see the name of a person, that is Manish. Now let me enter another data, TD, and let me write down, suppose the address as Delhi. Let me close the table heading, and finally let me enter one more table data, table data, and let me give one phone number. Suppose say this is a particular phone number, and close the table data. Now go to the file and just see how it looks like. Here under the column heading name, we can see the table data at Manish. Under the head address, we can see Delhi. Under the phone number, you can see the phone number of a particular person. So once the table data gets complete, you need to close the table row. So in this way, if you want to add more table row, then you need to mention, that is, you need to open the table row tag once again, then you can insert the table data and write down the name, next name, address and phone number. Now as you have seen that though I have created the table in the web page, but this table does not give the real appearance of the table, but it is made up of 2 rows and 3 columns. So to enhance its appearance, we will learn more about other table attributes. So now let us understand some of the attributes of the table. Now if you go here, these are some of the attributes of the table tag. Number first one is border. That is, this attribute, it will helps to draw the border around the table. So it specifies the width of the border of the table. The example is table border is equal to 5, 6, 7. You have to give it in pixel. Now if you want to apply the border color, then you have to use the border color attribute. Next is to set the background color of the table. We use bg color attribute. Now if you want to set the margin within the cell, that is, it will create the distance between the edge of the cell and the content of the cell. So if you want to create the distance between the edge of the cell and the content of the cell, then we use cell padding attributes. And finally, we have a cell spacing attribute. This attribute is used to set the minimum distance between the 2 adjacent cells. Now in the same table, I'll use some of these attributes and I will show you how these attributes will enhance the appearance of the table. So let me go back. Now let me start with the table. So as I showed you some of the attributes of the table tag, like say border, border color, bg color, cell padding and cell spacing. So I'll use all these attributes and enhance the appearance of the table. So let us begin. Now inside the table tag, let me start with the first attribute, that is border. So I have already said that border attributes will give a border to the table. So let it be 5 pixel. Now let me go to the file and just save it and refresh it. Now you can see here the border has appeared around the table. So if you increase the width of the border, accordingly the thickness of the border will get increased. Now let me use the next attribute of the border, that is say bg color. So before bg color, let me give a color to the border. So let me write down border color. So let my border color be red. Let me go to the file and save it and let me refresh it. You can see that the border of the color of the border appeared red. Now let me use another attributes, that is BG color, that is background color for the table. And let my background color be, suppose say, pink. Now let me go to the file and just click on save and refresh it. Now you can see that the background color of the table has appeared in pink color. Now let me use the next attribute of the table tag, that is cell spacing. Now what does the cell spacing do? As I have already mentioned here, cell spacing attribute is used to set the minimum distance between two adjacent cells. So if you want to give the distance between the two adjacent cells, then we use cell spacing. Now let my cell spacing suppose be 15 pixel. Now let me go to the file and just save it, and let me click on the refresh button. Now what you can see is the space between the two cells. So this is the space between the two cells. So when you want to give the space, or if you want to increase or decrease the space between the two cells, then we use cell spacing. Suppose if I use cell spacing is equal to 20, then you can see that the space between the two cells will increase by 20 pixel. Let me go to the file, click on save and refresh it. So you can see the space between the two cells has increased on all the sides. Now let me use the next attribute of the table tag, that is cell padding. Now let my cell padding is equal to 20. Now what happens in the cell padding is it will increase the space between the wall, that is the wall of the shell, and the content of the shell. So if you want to increase the distance between the boundary of the shell and the content, then we use a cell padding attributes. Now let me go to the file, click on save and just see how it looks like when I click on the refresh button. See, you can see that this is the space, this is a cell. So if you want to increase the space between the boundary of the cell and the content, then we use cell padding attributes. Now you can see that the table, it looks more attractive than the one that we have created before using a cell attributes. So these are some of the attributes of the table. One is the border, another is border color, then the BG color, cell spacing, and cell padding. So this is how we create a table in HTML document. Suppose say if you want to enter a new row, then just below the tr closing tr tag, you just open one more table row tag and enter the, let me give the table data. So inside the table data, insert another name, suppose say Ritika. Close the table data tag. Now again open the next table data tag and enter the address, suppose say Mumbai. Close the table data tag and again open the next table data tag and you just put the phone number and just close the table data tag and finally close the table row tag. Now just click on the file and just save it and refresh it. You will see one more table, that is table row created below Manish. So you can see that one more table is created. Now let us see something is wrong with the phone number. Okay, just I forgot to give here the open the table data. Because of that the phone number is not showing. Let me go to file, save and refresh it. So the new cell has appeared. So in this way we can create a table within the HTML page or a web page. So in this video you have learned how to create a table by using a table tag, table row, that is tr tag, to insert the table row, and ts, that is table heading, to specify the column heading. Then we have used td tag to specify the data inside the cell, and finally we have used all the attributes of the table tag like border, to specify the border for the table, border color to give the border color to the table, bg color to apply the background color to table, cell padding, that is to create a distance between the edge of the cell and the content of the cell, and finally the cell padding, that is to set the distance between two adjacent cells. So this is all in today's video. I hope you have understood it. Just open the notepad, that is a text editor, and do practice it at home. Thank you, children.